Black Girl Missing 2023 on Lifetime, directed by Delmar Washington, starring Garcelle Beveus, Jeanette Branch, Ayanna Holly, Taylor Mosby, Luke Mullen, Linda Park, Zach Gold, Noah Fernley, Betsy Baker, Shelley Jane, and William Mapother. You probably have never heard of the movie or seen advertisement for it. Maybe you have, who knows? And the reason being is because Black Girl Missing 2023 came out the same time as Missing 2023, which was a American Screen Life mystery thriller film that starred Storm Reed. I saw advertisement for Missing. I heard more people talking about it. And I think Missing had a more universal and international friendly tone than Black Girl Missing, because when it comes to Hollywood and really society as a whole, a lot of people are moving away from race. They're moving away from race as a color, race as a social construct. They're moving away from it. So a movie like Black Girl Missing that has a clear tone in the title and throughout the actual movie would be something that a lot of people would stay away from. And in having discussions in real life, I can see why. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Black Girl Missing, I did a watch along already. I do watch alongs when I watch movies before doing a review. If you want to be a part of a watch along, let me know in the comment section and I'll respond back. And also let me know in the comment section any movies you want me to review, do a watch along for, and do a discussion. And again, spoiler alert for Black Girl Missing. Cheryl, the mom, she wakes up from a bad dream of searching for Lauren. She turns over to a family photo. The mom, Cheryl, goes into Lauren's room to see if Lauren is still awake. Lauren's unresponsive. As soon as Cheryl, the mom, leaves, Lauren gets on the phone.
Hey, sorry, did I wake you? I don't know how long I can take it anymore. When can I finally see you?
Lauren has already confided in the catfish person that she's met online. She's hearing a voice. She's calling a number. She's confided in this person, but she hasn't at all verified that she's talking to who she's talking to by doing a video chat, which would have eliminated a lot of stuff. Lauren is the older sister. She's the one doing the hair of Marley, the younger sister. So Lauren's getting calls from the catfish. The catfish is sending text messages and it only has emojis. And Lauren is so occupied and nervous about meeting the catfish that she's doing Marley's braids too tight.
All I do is school, homework, and sleep, like a little no-fun robot.
You haven't made any friends?
With who? The meatheads or future farmers at Blue Valley High?
You have to try, Marley. Trust me. It gets worse if you isolate yourself.
So Lauren's doing a little foreshadowing because she has isolated herself. That's how she's able to speak knowledge about isolating yourself. Bad idea. And usually when people get catfished, it's because they're lonely, they're depressed, they've isolated themselves, and that's how they become susceptible to people who want to abduct them online, and they're more gullible to talking to someone online, never seeing them, trusting them, and taking a leap of faith and going to meet the person before actually doing a video chat to determine that who they're talking to is actually who they're talking to.
Who is spamming your phone? Is it a secret boyfriend? Maybe a sworn mortal enemy?
Girl, mind your business. It is no one, okay?
Lauren, you don't have to hide anything from me, you know? I just want to make sure you're okay.
Hey, I'm the big sister. I'm supposed to worry about if you're okay, not vice versa. Okay, Peanut?
Fine, but do not call me Peanut. I'm 15.
Lauren felt like she had the weight of the world on her shoulders, especially with her being the older sister, a lot of pressure on her. And that's one of many reasons why Lauren kept everything bottled inside until she finally exploded.
Lauren, smile.
Aren't you happy? Yes.
Lauren was depressed, and that's the reason Marley was able to notice that something was wrong with Lauren, and that's why she asked Lauren, was she happy? And Lauren, instead of telling the truth, she said yes, put on the smile. In this moment, she was actually deeply depressed.
It's nice to have you home for the weekend, Lauren.
Yeah, I'm happy I'm here too.
Lauren expressed that she was happy to be home, but she wasn't happy.
Although, I did think that since you're just 20 minutes up the road that we get to see you a little more often.
Sorry, I just have a lot going on.
Lauren expresses that she has quote unquote a lot going on. That's why she can't come home a lot. It's more than likely that the reason why she didn't come home where she normally is happy is because she was depressed and she was wallowing. Sometimes when people are depressed, they kind of lay in bed all day. They don't want to get up. They don't want to do anything. They want to be isolated. And they don't even want to be around things that used to make them happy because they've lost interest in things like Lauren has done.
Lauren, I want to know everything that's going on in college.
Can we talk about it later?
Why can't we talk about it now?
I just don't want to talk about it now.
Why are you avoiding talking about school?
Is there a problem?
I'm really unhappy there.
That's news to me. Are your grades dropping?
I knew you would act like that.
Okay, guys, we cannot.
Act like what? I'm just trying to understand. Are you saying that you want to switch schools?
No, I'm saying that I want to drop out.
Marley, go to your room. Go to your room. Absolutely not.
You're not even listening to me.
Oh, I hear you. You want to throw your life away and drop out of school?
Okay, that's not fair, Mom.
You know what's not fair? The time, the money. I mean, all the effort to prepare you for the Ivy League.
And no one actually do any of that. Mom, I'm trying to tell you. I think I'm depressed.
You don't look depressed to me.
Well, maybe you're seeing whatever you want to see. Focused in school. I'm always tired. I just feel empty.
Baby, I know this is a tough transition, but when I was your age, I was too busy supporting myself through college to feel depressed.
Okay, so because you had a rough childhood, I'm not supposed to feel anything?
Oh my God, your generation is obsessed with feelings. If you're overwhelmed, just come home.
If I was to stay here, I'd go crazy.
So what do you think? I'm running a torture chamber?
Do you know how good you have it? You have a beautiful home with a family that loves
Mom,
you.
I can't keep up with this fake orange juice life commercial thing that you're trying to live. It's bullshit.
I am so glad your father isn't here to see this. He would be so disappointed. Lauren, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that, babe.
That exchange between Cheryl, the mom, and Lauren is basically what gave Lauren the push to want to see the catfish, no longer feel nervous about seeing the catfish, and ultimately packing up, running away. Lauren packs up and leaves earlier than she was supposed to because of the fight with her mom. Lauren hugs Marley and leaves. And this is the last time Marley sees Lauren, and the last time the mom, Cheryl, sees Lauren until the end of the movie when they find her. After Cheryl, the mom, doesn't hear from Lauren for 2 days, she calls Lauren and doesn't get an answer.
I'm not here. Leave a message.
Lauren, it's Mom. This radio silence has gone too long. Call me back, please.
Blue Valley, Texas is home for today's best music, 94.7. In national news, missing 18-year-old Oregon girl Jessica Russo has not been seen for several days.
Marley expresses to Cheryl, her mom, that she's now the social outcast because she's the new girl and the vice principal's daughter. Marley takes the state placement exam. Josh tries to cheat off of Marley, but Marley won't let him. Josh bumps into Marley on purpose to bully her for not letting him cheat off of her exam, and that's when Josh says, "I don't like people like you." When Marley asks, what does he mean by that? Josh says, because you are the daughter of the vice principal. Whereas it's kind of like implied he's talking about because she's black, but doesn't come out and say it.
Mr. Whelan, what do you think you're doing?
Cheryl overheard the exchange and tells Josh to go to the principal's office.
It was an accident.
Are you planning to apologize?
Sorry, Marley. Can I go?
Yes, to the principal's office. Now.
Don't freak out. I got it.
My daughter hides the fact that she's being bullied in school. I think I can freak out a little.
I'm just doing what you taught us. Grin and bear it.
The movie doesn't really give much context to that, but I think it's in regards to like a black inferiority thing. When you get into, let's just say, a confrontation with someone who's not black, it's better to grin and bear it than be confrontational because of problems that may come with it. And again, the movie doesn't come out to say this, but there's an underlining tone of racism and systemic racism. But because it's a Lifetime movie, they don't really get into the weeds as far as that. They just kind of insinuate it, and it's up to you to interpret it or not. When I initially watched this movie, that's how I interpreted it. But I don't think the movie really wants it to be overt. I think they want to talk to who they want to talk to. And it's one of those things where if you see color, you see it. If you don't, you don't.
I have the minutes from the PTA meeting from last week.
Great, thank you.
We have 3 teachers on maternity leave, so I took the liberty of rearranging the detention monitor schedules.
Great, thanks. No idea what we'd do without you if you showed up here.
Principal Shepard, have you had a chance to speak with Josh Whelan?
Yeah, looks like it was just some sort of miscommunication, I guess.
I saw him knock the books out of my daughter's hand because she wouldn't let him cheat off of her.
Well, he assured me that it was an accident. This is actually the first thing I'm hearing about anything about cheating, Cheryl.
Respectfully, sir, he's lying to you. And you and I both know that his behavior is against the code of conduct.
I got all the forms for the district. I can't find them.
Bottom right drawer.
Okay, here we go. Perfect, thank you. Look, I have known this young man and his family for years. These are good people.
I don't doubt that, but
I don't need to tell you that the school is basically running on fumes, and the school district is looking down our throats, and I don't think we need to provoke them now with accusations about cheating and bullying and... Hold on one sec. Hello. Hey, Superintendent Richards, thank you so much for calling. Yeah.
He knows Josh's family. He knows Josh. There's no way he could do it. And this is what a lot of people say when it comes to systemic issues, in that person in position of power does not execute all of their duties, including punishment, due to biases. The movie doesn't really come out and just say that the bias is because of racism or that the bias is actually being used. It's just more of this person, the principal, in the position of power. He's picking and choosing winners and losers. Later on, when Marley does something, he's going to want to give the hammer to her, even though she's the vice principal's daughter, as opposed to giving Josh the hammer for a lot of accusations that really can't be proven, because he likes them and trusts them and believes they wouldn't do anything. The movie does a really good job in highlighting in a very bare bones way how systemic issues are issues, and how that someone in a position of power or authority or a decision maker makes a decision and picks winners and losers based off of favoritism, bias, discrimination, race, or what have you. And the principal does this to the vice principal, Cheryl, and she's powerless to do anything to give her daughter justice, simply because the principal, who's above her, is saying that this is no big deal. He doesn't have time for this. Once Cheryl sees that the principal doesn't want to be bothered with her concern for her own daughter, that's when she leaves, and she realizes that this is not going to go the way she thought, despite the fact that she's the second highest person in the organization, which is the school. Cheryl hears more about Jessica Russo, who's made national news after being reported missing for several days. The news is talking about she received online harassment, 18-year-old Oregon girl, and she's Caucasian.
Of missing Oregon teenager Jessica Russo has become the target of substantial online harassment. That behavior is leading a lot of people on social media to suggest...
I heard about this on the radio. Turn up the volume.
Family and friends of Jessica, and also volunteers all around the country, pursue leads and also try to spread awareness. Rogers, the last person to have seen her alive, is refusing to do interviews.
We believe someone took our angel, Jessica. I just keep replaying what she said to me before she left. I love you, Mom.
That poor family. Can you imagine if that was your child?
Absolutely not. Are you okay over there?
Yeah.
Cheryl tells her coworkers about an argument that she had with Lauren. Lauren hasn't returned her phone calls or text messages.
Little argument with my eldest.
Didn't end well.
She hasn't returned my call in 2 days, or texts, which isn't like her even when she's pissed at Mom.
It appears that she's on a live stream talking about hairstyles.
What I'm wearing right now with my curly hair. Second up...
I guess I didn't make it to #Saturday Styles.
Marley pontificates to herself that she wasn't invited to Lauren's hairstyle thing, which is not a common behavior of Lauren, further showing that she's changing her behavior and it's probably due to her depression. Lauren's not returning Marley's text messages as well as her mom's.
I said maybe if you weren't so aggro, Lauren wouldn't have left early.
I didn't force Lauren to leave.
No, but you chased her away, and now she won't even talk to me.
You haven't heard from her since she left?
Negative.
Has she posted anything online?
No. She even missed #Monday Motivation.
I think she's really upset.
Cheryl starts calling different people who know Lauren, and everyone is saying they haven't heard from her in months or a few days or even weeks. Cheryl checks Lauren's bank records. No transactions have been made. No phone calls have been made. She goes through Lauren's call list, calls one of the numbers. One of them is her supervisor at the coffee shop that she works at. The supervisor says that she hasn't been there and she's fired. Cheryl goes to Lauren's home. Annie says that she hasn't heard from Lauren in a day or two and thought that she was still home with her family. Day 3 of Lauren being missing.
Did you find anything?
Well, there's no signs of forced entry. There's a bag missing with some clothes, her computer, and her phone. Otherwise, it seems as if your daughter left voluntarily.
That doesn't make sense. I mean, she would have called us and let us know, and all of a sudden, her phone is off?
Look, I've seen this before. Students get overwhelmed, they skip out for a couple days, and then they come back.
Not my daughter. I mean, maybe other students, but not my daughter. She wouldn't run away. She wouldn't.
Okay, well, I spoke with her roommate, Annie, who said that your daughter has been exhibiting strange behavior lately. Been skipping school. Did you know that about your daughter?
No, I wasn't aware.
Look, I know this isn't easy to hear, but there is no need to panic. Chances are your daughter's going to show up in a couple days on your doorstep with a bag of dirty laundry.
So then what? Do we just wait to see if my sister's actually missing? I thought the first 48 hours are supposed to be the most important.
Marley, I'm sorry. It's been a long night.
Look, we put a bull out on your sister, okay? If I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Thanks.
Okay, well, you said previously that Lauren was home for the weekend, but she left early. Why is that?
We had an argument, but she said she was heading right back to school. Were you able to find out if that's true?
All right. Yes, there is surveillance footage of her leaving campus. The problem is it goes cold once she gets right off campus. Now, Lauren took both her phone and her computer. Do you guys have passwords or access to her social media?
No, but you can subpoena the social media companies to get her data, right?
We can. It takes about 2 to 4 weeks to ever hear back, and if there isn't sufficient cause, then we won't get it. And in this case, there really isn't. Trying to do some background on your daughter, does she have any history of prior disappearances or drugs or any closed cases?
No, and no. Detective, are you trying to figure out if my daughter is a criminal or if a crime occurred here?
I'm just trying to get my facts straight, ma'am. That's it. Okay, well, Miss Baker, the truth is we've got no evidence of foul play, and Lauren is an adult.
Detective, she's 18.
And she voluntarily left her college campus. There's no crime there.
What about a search party to check the woods behind the college or...
That's a great idea. That's been very effective in the past. Unfortunately, we don't have the resources for that, but if you could get some volunteers together, put up some flyers, get involved in social media, it'd be a huge help.
Spread out. Jessica Russo. As volunteers from across the nation gather, the FBI now believes that Jessica Russo may have been abducted by a potential serial killer who is showing a similar pattern of killings to the infamous serial killer Ted Bundy. And that suspect is believed to be responsible for 3 murders across the Pacific Northwest.
Cheryl, Marley, and other volunteers go through the woods looking for Lauren. Now she's gone missing for 8 days.
I've been following this Jessica Russo disappearance, but you just never think it's actually going to be ever in your own backyard. I mean, they seem like a nice family. Cheryl, we were just saying how sorry we are that you have to go through all of this. I made an announcement at church, and everyone's praying for Lauren. Word's going to get out there.
Excuse me?
And when it does, I bet that her face will be plastered all over the TV screen, just like Jessica Russo's.
Cheryl runs away upset because when the movie first started, Jessica Russo, the 18-year-old Oregon girl who's Caucasian, she made national news after being gone, quote unquote, several days. Lauren's been gone for 8 days, and it's been more of like grassroots, word of mouth. There's no wide media search. At this point of the movie, it's kind of insinuating that that is because Lauren is black, Jessica was white. Going through all the information that the movie has put out, it does appear that Lauren has just run away because she was upset with her mom, didn't want to talk to her mom and her sister, and she's taking like a mental health break or like a vacation from everything. She took all of her electronics. She was already reclusive, didn't really have any friends, ran away after an argument. These are all indications that she left and doesn't want to be bothered. Even if it's 8 days, sometimes people will not talk to family and friends for months just because they're stressed out, they want a mental health break, so on and so forth. So it's reasonable to understand why law enforcement and others don't really believe that Lauren is missing or that she's been abducted, because these are all things indicative of someone who just wants to get away. We don't really know much information about Jessica Russo's case, but the movie is kind of spoon feeding the idea idea that Jessica Russo is white and Lauren is black. That's the reason why no one's hearing about Lauren, whereas the movie does a poor job in illustrating that based off of the things that they have the character Lauren doing.
Next up, I don't need to tell you, this Jessica Russo case has been a ratings knockout. So as a result, no shocker, National wants every station covering, Jessica 24/7. Too much is not enough. Alyssa, how kind of you to join us.
Sorry, school drop-off is literally in my next circle.
And it looks like you got a little gift there as a bonus.
Awesome.
Next up, the station has received approximately 35 calls from a local mom whose daughter is MIA.
How old is the kid?
She's not a kid, she's a student at Canning. Now, I've looked into this, there's no story here. Plus, we've already got our hands filled with one missing girl already. However, some lucky winner here today is going to be the one to call and let the mom down gently. Wow. So busy with your pad. Oh, these two solving world problems, nothing from them. Leaving Miss Punctual herself. Alyssa, will you do me the honor?
Sure.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody, get back to work. Come on.
So your daughter's been missing just over a week.
Yeah, and it's been a nightmare. I can't even get in touch with the detective that's assigned to her case.
I mean, the cops called my sister a runaway. Like, that makes her not worth their time.
What can you tell me about Lauren? Did she have any personal problems leading up to this?
My husband died last year. Coronary heart disease. His death has been tough on the girls. Lauren has struggled in school. She's acted out a bit, but she has never and would never run away.
I have to ask, considering what your family has been through, did Lauren show any signs of suicidal ideation?
No. It could never have gotten that bad. I would have seen something. Would you? You don't take a computer if you're going to. My gut tells me that my daughter is out there.
I believe you. And we would be happy to run Lauren's photo in the 5 o'clock local news roundup.
That's it? I thought you were taking notes to maybe do a story.
No, to see if there is a story. But look, if I'm being honest with you, there's just not much here. The police, they found no signs of forcible abduction.
So until my daughter is murdered, she's not newsworthy.
Unless salient details emerge, there is no story for me to report.
Alyssa, phone call.
So Alyssa's right. There really isn't much information because they don't know if she really is missing. There's no signs of foul play, not much information. There really isn't a story there. However, with Jessica Russo, it's the same thing. With Jessica Russo, they're showing video of her on the news, her picture. They're playing her 24/7 around the clock. So the same way that there's no information about Lauren, there was no information about Jessica Russo, and the movie does its job in hammering home that Jessica Russo, with no information, she gets national news after several days because she's a Caucasian girl, and Lauren doesn't get really much of anything because she's black. So Marley finds a website for netsleuths.com. Netsleuths end up helping Cheryl and Marley digitally use different digital footprints and different techniques to hack Lauren's social media to be able to find Lauren, find the catfish, and ultimately rescue Lauren from her captor. Cheryl goes around handing out missing flyers, spreading awareness that Lauren is missing. On day 10 of Lauren being missing, Cheryl goes to Lauren's former job.
Don't you want to see a movie with me? Just one little date? Just one casual date. Welcome to Canning Cafe.
The movie does some misdirection in showing Lauren's former supervisor. He harasses female employees. He has the black eye. So the movie kind of like misdirects to possibly the manager or supervisor having something to do with it, which I think this is a good misdirection because I thought maybe for a while that it was the manager, but then he gets ruled out later on. So the manager says that he hasn't heard from Lauren, and the mom ends up talking to the co-worker.
When Lauren were allies in the trenches, what did you mean?
It means Eddie, our boss, is a real jerk, especially if you have boobs.
He harasses the girls?
I guess technically it's harassment. I think of him more like a little fly buzzing in your ear. It's annoying, but harmless. You think Eddie has something to do with Lauren's disappearance?
Maybe, but turns out there's a lot about my daughter that I didn't know.
Fully, Eddie's a sleaze, but he's all bark. I can't imagine he would actually hurt someone.
Thanks.
There is one person you might want to look into, though. stuck-up roommate. What's her name?
Annie?
That's it. If I had to put money on who might actually harm Lauren, it'd be Annie.
So the movie does a good job with kind of like directing and misdirecting. You think it's possibly Lauren's supervisor, or you think that it's Annie, Lauren's roommate. The movie kind of like bounces you back and forth between those two. The movie also bounces you to a guy named Ian working at a music store, and it turns out not to be him. And in the end, the catfish turns out to be a whole different character that we don't know anything about, just like an older Caucasian guy who is like a hunter in the middle of nowhere, flannel jacket, a rundown house, no information about the catfish, just that it turns out it's a character that was just never really introduced in the movie, and it kind of adds to the mystery of not really knowing who abducts people.
I've left you a dozen messages.
I've been meaning to call you. It's been such a crazy news week.
My daughter's news. She's local news. Meanwhile, you have round-the-clock coverage of some girl lost in Oregon.
National wants all affiliates focused on Jessica Russo.
Well, no one's making progress on my daughter's case. I found 2 potential suspects.
Did you bring this to the police?
Yeah, I tried, but they never returned my calls. Eddie Brick, Lauren's coworker, said that he has a history of sexually harassing the girls that work there. And when I spoke to him...
Well, you spoke to a possible suspect? That could be dangerous.
My daughter is missing. What should I do? Sit back and knit? Lauren's roommate, Annie Dolan. According to the coworker, there's been some bullying going on.
Okay, can you be more specific? Like, what kind of bullying are we talking about?
She didn't give me any details, but apparently the situation has gotten really bad.
Mrs. Baker, I know that you think that I've been ignoring you, but I did speak to the police.
You did?
Yes. And the statements that Mr. Brick and Miss Dolan gave did not provoke any suspicion. Do you have proof that your daughter was being sexually harassed and bullied?
No, but that shouldn't...
I do want to help you. I swear I do. But I cannot call people suspects on live TV based on hearsay. Does that make sense?
Are you a mom?
Yeah. This is my son, Gabriel.
He's 6?
Yeah, he just turned. Good guess.
For 20 years, I've watched school drop off and pick up, from preschoolers to high schoolers. You know the one thing that never changes? The way a parent looks at their child when they say goodbye. I said my last goodbye to my daughter.
Cheryl, wait. As a journalist, there are legal limits to what I can do. But speaking as a mom, I would check out her room again. You would be shocked to see what good evidence just gets overlooked.
I think this is fair for the reporter to send Cheryl to go look at Lauren's room again. Only thing that I see that's really an issue is that the news organization is focusing on Jessica Russo because she's good for news. She's acceptable for a wide audience for them to care about. What the movie does not say, and what should be said, is that the dominant society is Caucasian, and they're going to care more about their own than someone who does not look like them. So, unfortunately, Black and brown people, based off what this movie's presenting to us, and what I think is kind of like socially acceptable and publicly known, is that Black and brown people, to a certain extent, people who are Asian in descent, anyone who is not, we'll just say, European in descent, if something happens to you, you're going to have to do a lot of legwork yourself. You may even have to hire private investigators because a lot of people are not going to care, or when they do find out, they're going to show concern, but nothing's going to really tug at their heartstrings to make them actually want to go do something. After Annie leaves the room, Cheryl goes in and starts snooping through Lauren's things. Annie goes back because she left her phone. Cheryl finds Annie's phone and holds it up and sees a message that says delete from DMs so that the cops don't see them, which kind of gives a misdirection. Annie was bullying Lauren, and the film kind of gives misdirection as in Annie had something to do with the disappearance, whereas Annie did have something to do with bullying that Lauren never told her mom or told anybody.
What are you doing in here? Is that my phone?
What DMs don't you want the police to know, Annie?
I don't know what you're talking about. Give me my phone.
Whatever you did to my daughter, I'm gonna find out. Annie is clearly hiding something. We have to find those DMs that she doesn't want the cops to see.
I might have an idea, but I don't think you're gonna like it. They're like amateur detectives who gather online to solve crimes.
Marley, I don't think it's a good idea for you to be talking to strangers.
Be our only chance of finding out what happened to Lauren. Look, they said this one girl, Bella Holmes 2008, is a tech whiz. She may be able to help us find those DMs.
So they decide to call one of the tech whizzes.
Lauren took them with her, and her phone shut off.
I can't remotely access a device that's been turned off, so we guess. Most passwords follow a simple format. A word or phrase, first letter capitalized, so 2 or 3 digit number at the end. First, you should make a list of all of Lauren's favorite things.
The movie presents a white savior trope, as in a character who's Caucasian comes to the rescue and kind of saves the day, which she does. The movie can't really decide, do they want to paint white people as being in power and evil and not really wanting to do anything about a black girl being missing, or do they want to have a white savior trope, as in someone that comes to save the day? You really can't have both, but most movies, they do have both things. But the issue is that the movie is laying out that there's systemic racism. People are searching for Jessica Russo and not really caring much or doing much for Lauren because she's black. And it's like white people and people who are Asian in descent doing this, where you could say it's okay, it's quote unquote white supremacy. But then a 16-year-old Caucasian girl comes to the rescue and helps Marley and Cheryl ultimately find Lauren. And you could say that because the sleuth is younger, that she's more open-minded and doesn't quote unquote see color. But I think the movie just doesn't really decide if they want to really hammer home racism or they want to just kind of straddle the fence. I think the movie does a poor job in giving the black characters in the movie agency, because it just seems like the mom didn't really listen to Lauren. Lauren didn't really have good communication skills. Marley was kind of like oblivious. Those are like the only 3 black prominent characters in the movie, and they just seem more passive. The movie does a good job as far as realism, because that's pretty much what's going to end up happening is you're going to have some people who are Caucasian who are like, I don't really care, or I can't help you, and some who are like, I want to help, give me the information, here's what you could do to proceed forward. And it's one of those things where the movie is just walking a tightrope and playing it safe, probably because it's a Lifetime movie. If it was a Hollywood movie, maybe even low budget, they would be clear in it being systemic racism and that the black characters got to help themselves. It wouldn't be a mix or whatever. To me, that was mixed signals, and that's where the movie falls flat, because it's not clear in the message it wants to send, especially since, yes, a black girl, she's actually 18, she's a woman, she's missing, but it's almost like Lauren was abducted and she did things to get herself abducted. Cheryl did things or did not do things well that kind of caused Lauren to be abducted, and Marley is just a passive protagonist.
Favorite movies?
Her favorite number was 8.
Then you should check if there are any lucky pairs between the phrases and numbers. This is where it sort of becomes a gut instinct. What does Lauren really care about?
I mean, there could be 1,000 different combinations for that.
The internet sleuth helps them in figuring out how to guess Lauren's password, and they're successful and they're able to obtain access to Lauren's social media.
This is where it sort of becomes a gut instinct. What does Lauren really care about?
I mean, there could be 1,000 different combinations for that.
Yeah, I mean, her favorite color is yellow. I mean, it could take weeks to write everything down. It could be thousands of them.
Except we only get 3 guesses.
3?
Marley's right. Most social media sites lock you out for 24 hours after 3 wrong guesses, and you could get permanently locked out after that.
Okay, try the next one. Should we do her favorite color?
Okay, I'll try it. Damn!
Hey!
You said it first?
One last left. Okay, go for it. What?
Bella said we should go with our instinct, and I feel like this one isn't it. Hold on.
Marley has a flashback talking with Lauren, and that miraculously gives Marley the knowledge to guess the password correctly.
Only liked Sweet Rose because they had that gross pickle flavored ice cream. What was it called?
Number 23, The Big Deal.
And this is where the movie starts to jump the shark. We no longer can suspend our belief, because the likelihood that they would have guessed her password correctly by just trying 3 different combinations out of 1 million, they got it. I'm not buying it, but okay, whatever.
Oh my God, it worked. Mom, these must have been the DMs that Annie was trying to hide.
Nobody wants you here.
I wish you were dead? Will you print this conversation?
Well, it's not in my jurisdiction. Oh, my hands are tied.
Detective.
Miss Baker.
You need to question Annie Dolan.
Who?
Lauren, my daughter's roommate?
Oh, yeah, we did. We took her statement. And like I said before, no evidence of foul play.
Well, Annie has been cyberbullying my daughter for months, including messages with direct physical threat.
How'd you get these?
We gained access to her account. I need someone to take my daughter's case seriously.
So Cheryl is thinking that no one's taking her daughter's case seriously, but they're like, we don't have any evidence. There's no signs of foul play. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. And the mom and Marley were able to find out about the cyberbullying by basically hacking the account. Law enforcement's not going to hack an account. They're not even going to go into someone's social media unless there's a body or there's a victim who says, hey, something was done to me. Cheryl's being written like the frantic mother, which is understandable, but the movie wants to make it seem like the system is not working, whereas the system needs at least a victim, signs of foul play, or even a body to start to move wheels forward. I don't like how the Lifetime movie is kind of painting the system to be the bad guy, when in actuality, the focus should be on perhaps the mother just going above and beyond for her daughter and giving the system the tools as opposed to accusing them of doing wrongdoing.
Detective, I need you to do more.
Does this look familiar to you? The coincidence I'm finding is that you spent months cyberbullying Lauren and then she disappeared.
I had nothing to do with Lauren disappearing. I wasn't even here that weekend. Look, I swear on my life, I swear on everything. I don't know what happened to Lauren.
Hi.
Hey, so I spoke with BVPD and I wanted to make sure that you heard as soon as possible. Detective Dean, he interviewed Annie and her alibi checks out. She was at some fancy ski resort. She wasn't even in the state at the time of Lauren's disappearance.
What about the manager, Eddie?
Mr. Brick, he apparently spent the night in a drunk tank. He got handsy at a strip club, bouncer roughed him up.
So that explains the black eye.
He is a sleazeball and he should definitely be fired. But, it's highly unlikely that he or Annie were involved in Lauren's disappearance.
So I'm back to the beginning and nowhere closer to finding where my daughter is.
I really am sorry, Mrs. Baker. I wish I had better news.
Thank you.
So 2 dead ends, despite her and Marley's efforts, it's 2 dead ends, one with the roommate and one with the supervisor. So Cheryl, Marley, and more volunteers search the woods again.
Lauren! Cheryl, it is getting awfully late. I think we have to call it for the night.
Susan, thank you for coming, okay? You can go home.
No, wait. You haven't slept in almost 2 weeks. Just call it for tonight.
I can't. My daughter told me she was depressed, and I was too afraid to listen. What if she came out here to...
Hey, if you feel it in your gut, Lauren is still out there. Just stop for the night.
Susan, please go home. Go home.
Okay.
Lauren!
I'm not supposed to speak to you. I'll call the cops.
I believe you weren't involved in Lauren's disappearance.
Then why are you following me?
I just want to understand what was going on with my daughter. Can we just take 1 minute to talk?
After the first few months, Lauren got really moody and quiet. She was always in her room, buried in her computer.
And I take it that was a problem for you.
Yeah, it got so annoying because I couldn't have any friends over or guys because she was just like this gloomy cloud, constantly there. I mean, looking back, it should have been obvious that she was just super depressed.
I missed it too.
I'm so sorry, Mrs. Baker. I know you probably can't forgive me, but I really do hope that Lauren is okay.
You're right. I can't forgive you for the way you treated my daughter. But maybe now you can help us.
How?
Maybe there's something you didn't think of that's actually useful. I mean, is there anyone that you think Lauren could have gone out to meet that night?
Well, she really didn't have any friends.
What about a professor or a crush?
Well, there was this one guy.
Who? Was he a student?
No, I think Lauren met him on a dating site or something. Crap, what was his name? Brian? Ian, that was it.
Ian. Marley!
Finally, you're back. We found an Ian.
Already?
The sleuths found this guy who'd been commenting on all of Lauren's pics on this dating site called Yearning until his account mysteriously deactivated the day after Lauren disappeared. Look, have you and the sleuths found anything else on Ian Turner?
Not yet. The main problem is that his IP address is based in Latvia.
That's thousands of miles away. That can't be the right person.
He's probably using a VPN to cover his real location. He could actually just be down the street.
Well, that's sus.
Are there any private messages
on the site.
Yes, but try logging in with Lauren's IP password. You'd be surprised how many people use the same one for everything. Total hacker bait.
Got it. No sign of Ian. But if he deactivated his account, his messages would have erased, right?
Right, but there's a trick. Try downloading Lauren's account data. Even deleted messages should appear in the archive.
There it is. I feel so lonely here. You're the only one who understands me.
Looks like Ian was supposed to pick up Lauren and Crowley. That's right behind the woods in Canning.
So that means that she did leave on her own.
Yeah, but it looks like she wasn't supposed to be staying. It says a few days.
Right.
But that still doesn't explain why her phone is turned off.
Or the fact that her debit card hasn't been used in almost 2 weeks.
Exactly. We can find this guy. It's just like you said. If we find Ian,
we find Lauren.
Imagine being Jessica's mom. How frustrated would you be? I mean, in my opinion, I feel like we're seeing this way.
I reverse searched the logo on his shirt. It's from Record Outlet, a town over.
Is that how you found out where Ian worked?
Sort of. They don't sell the shirt online, so I figured he has to be an employee.
But nothing is happening.
Good job, Detective Marley.
Okay.
So Cheryl goes to the record store and meets Ian, but it turns out that guy is not the guy, and someone took images from his social media to be the catfish that ended up contacting Lauren and abducting her. So Marley creates a fake account. She attracts the catfish Ian's attention. Marley agrees to meet up with Ian, gets Ian's information. Cheryl goes to Ian's location and finds Lauren. So Marley tricked the catfish into meeting her, and Cheryl is the one who shows up.
Are you sure this is the place?
Yeah, he said he'd pick Kiana up for a date right here.
There's nothing out here. He must have known that.
Easier to hide his trail?
Yep, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I do see a truck. I mean, that's gotta be him. It's a red truck. Let me give you the license plate. DE7 C541.
94 says that this plate was registered as stolen and it belongs to a sedan.
Not a truck?
No.
Okay, but it must be him. I'm gonna try to get a picture of him. Damn it, he just left. Okay, I'm going.
No, Mom, are you following him?
Call the cops.
That wasn't a part of the plan.
Call the cops.
Mom!
Cheryl follows the catfish to his home. She starts walking up the steps. Marley calls the cops. The catfish guy is messaging Marley, and the catfish gets a catfish picture. But it actually was a phishing link where when the catfish clicked on it, that would give the internet sleuth his information.
Did the phishing link work?
Yes, he clicked it. Now we should be able to access his real IP address and his location.
And while snooping around outside, Cheryl is able to, while walking around outside, look in a window and see Lauren tied up on a bed. The likelihood that she's in a room, or let's say a cellar, where you can just walk up and just see her, and the mom can just kind of like go into the home, rescue Lauren, and they make it out. And then she has a confrontation with the catfish. She kind of like punches the guy, stuns him, and allows them to get further away from the house. And then the police show up just in time. I don't think it's realistic. The realism goes away. I guess the runtime, they wanted to focus more on what the mom had to go through in order to tell the authorities, tell the news her daughter's missing. People ignored her. She had to get with a group that was about finding black girls and black women. That really didn't help. And they ended up using the internet sleuths who were able to find the catfish. They're just sprinting to get Lauren to safety, close out the movie. I get that at the end they had to sprint because they wanted to focus on the misdirection. They wanted to focus on the suspense. They wanted to kind of stretch it out. But the final stretch of the third act was too sprinty for me. They don't even show you how Cheryl got in the house and the catfish did to see her. They just show Cheryl entering into the room that Lauren's in, and it's just like, no big deal. Okay. Cheryl had to break the duct tape with her teeth that had Lauren bound. Another realism aspect that they kind of got rid of. Usually this guy's in the middle of nowhere. He'd have dogs, or he'd have Lauren tied up with rope, or maybe even handcuffs or chains. And the fact that she's just on this bed that's not even made up with just duct tape, I guess he drugged her. It just seems like at this point in the movie, they just kind of slapped together an ending or slapped together a last part of a third act. It just just falls flat for me. Cheryl has to carry Lauren out. I guess she was drugged. Maybe she was knocked out. She does have bruises showing signs of a struggle. For the catfish to keep her bound or to have her captured, it's just surprising that only her feet were bound and not the rest of her body. And the part that's wild is, okay, if Cheryl came in through the door, no signs of the catfish, why are they going out the window? So the catfish runs up, grabs Cheryl, throws her to the ground, drags Cheryl by her hair, and for whatever reason, he drags her by her hair out of the room where Lauren was in and throws her into the living room. Instead of doing something to Cheryl to eliminate her and get Lauren back, he's gonna give Lauren some, I guess, a head start to get away, and now he's throwing Cheryl around. Okay, so now there's a struggle between Cheryl and the catfish. The catfish appears to be larger than her, yet she's able to put up a fight toe-to-toe with this guy. She manages to get the guy to the ground, kicks him, and that stuns him to the point where she's able to run out of the house, reunite with Lauren, and the police, they show up just in time. Lauren gets out the window and she lays on the ground and she's in a daze. So I guess she was drugged, not really sure, but Lauren is chilling. Yeah, Cheryl had to pick Lauren up off the ground. The catfish comes down the steps stumbling. Someone of Cheryl's size was able to knock this guy out to where he's stumbling, coming down the steps. And again, it's a Lifetime movie. It's geared towards giving women kind of like the happy ending. So they had to nerf the catfish. But the tone of the movie with a black girl being missing, I think they should have added a little bit more realism in this final act, because this right here is the home stretch. Cheryl puts Lauren behind her to protect her as the catfish inch closer to them.
Put your hands up! You're under arrest for the abduction of Lauren Baker. Get on your knees. Put your hands behind your back.
And the police come save the day.
Thank you for joining us today. We have Cheryl Baker. She is the mother of Lauren Baker, a young girl who was recently abducted. You've since learned that your daughter was not an isolated incident. In fact, your efforts thwarted a serial predator?
That's correct, Mary. The police now believe that Lauren's abductor may have been responsible for the disappearance of 6 other young women in our area.
So why do you feel like Lauren was the one that got out alive?
Lauren comes from a family of means. The other victims were poor, black, and brown women on the margin of society. I mean, he didn't pick those women by accident.
Russ, check it out.
But he made a big mistake underestimating how far we would go to get Lauren back.
Did. Yeah. Well, Cheryl, tell me this. Now that Lauren's abductor is facing a life in prison, do you feel like you and your family are finally getting justice?
Justice? Mary, I assume you're familiar with John Benet Ramsey, Natalie Holloway, Gabby Petito.
Of course.
What about Relisha Rudd?
No, unfortunately, I don't know.
Relisha Rudd was a little black girl who went missing in D.C. March 1st, 2014. She's still missing. And there's so many more. Like Alyssa Jennings, College Station, Texas. Last seen May 30th, 2022. Nia Glenn Lopez, Memphis, Tennessee. Last seen October 1st, 2016. Still missing. Maya Barnes, Washington, D.C. Last seen May 18th, 2017. Kier Johnson, Hampton, Virginia. Last seen April 30th, 2017. Still missing. Jaya Allen, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Last seen July 15th, 2021. Still missing. Starla Henderson, Shreveport, Louisiana. Last seen November 28th, 2012. Still missing.
Yes, please visit blackandmissingincorporated.com. So the level of tension was clearly there. I did like the complications, how they did a reversal. You thought it was the manager of the store that Lauren worked at, then you thought it was the roommate. They did a bouncing back and forth with that. And I did like the struggle of trying to get the law enforcement to do things to help out, and even getting the news organization to do things to help. I could feel the complications with it. The writing was okay. I didn't really have any issue with the writing. They did do a good job of showing and not telling the frustration. I did feel their pain. I think the actors did a good job with the material they were given. It was clear as far as the turning point of the movie when Lauren was missing. It didn't point to 1, 2, or even 3 reasons why Lauren could have up and left. They kind of left it convoluted and complicated, but I think that's kind of how it is in real life. Lauren was depressed. The mom, Cheryl, she didn't really listen to Lauren. They had a father that passed away. Marley, she was kind of like a passive protagonist. But I definitely felt that this could happen to anyone. There's not a single point of failure. And I think that was a good message for the idea of a black girl being missing. And then even when they had the progression of the movie, I didn't feel like it lingered too long in any scene. I think the pacing was good for Act 1 and even Act 2. Only issue I have is Act 3 when it went to the final push and the aftermath. I think that was kind of like rushed. There was a lot of plot armor that was there. Cheryl wasn't hurt at all by the catfish. She came out unscathed. Lauren did not appear to be abused. The catfish used just duct tape and I guess drugged her, but not really sure. After the climax was over with, Lauren appeared to be fine. She just had to talk to her therapist, which she should have done in the beginning. So I think they hammered home that therapy is the way to go. And that's like the only type of positive thing that I could say that really helped out the characters towards the end of the journey. There's a cringe scene that I left out between a news reporter and her boss, where the news reporter is saying that black and brown girls are missing and we got to do more for them. Just got a little cringe. I just think that the characters were somewhat real, except for that cringe scene that I just mentioned. And the third act, I think the catfish was unreal. Not having any weapons, not having a dog. He's using technology to capture people and kidnap people, but he has no technology in his home to let him know people were there. It just didn't do it for me, and it kind of took me out. So at the end of the movie, Cheryl is naming off a lot of black girls who are missing and still missing. So I think where the movie fell flat was there really wasn't any high stakes. And what I mean is, I wasn't sure if Lauren was going to be okay at the end, but when we found out that she's okay, but the black girls that we're saying are missing were not okay, they're still missing, I think for the movie to really drive home that point that they tried to do towards the end, Lauren should have stayed missing and never been found. To hammer home what they wanted was the fact that black girls are missing. A lot of people aren't doing anything about it, and they get overlooked by the system. My rating for this movie is a 3 out of 10. So what did you think about Black Girl Missing? Have you seen it? Are you going to see it now? Let me know in the comment section your thoughts. Thumbs up the video, share your social media, subscribe, click the notification bell. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Go forth, do great things, and I'm out. Peace.
Spade. Parkland. Cash app car when I cash her out. No. Cash app, then I ask her out. Cash app.
Get on your Cash App $
Spade. Parkland.
We're going to start getting some work done, family. So please get them donations in. Get them in. $
Spade. Parkland.